Alrighty then. This is a new what if. Well, I'm making a new what if because somebody recommended I do this what if, so I'll be doing it. And I made and I told the person in the comments that it has to be an isekai. That person knows who it is. If that person doesn't, well then let me tell you. This is the idea you suggested. This is what if Deku was a scientist. This is what if Deku was a scientist. Now, you may be wondering, what specific type of scientist? Like the one that collects bones, the one that analyzes gems, or like things like odd materials like dark matter and shit like that. No. He's gonna be a scientist that's involved around like magic and magical and magical creatures. So yeah, this is gonna be an isekai. Title is what if Class 1A was isekai? Because I'm tired of starting with what if Deku, because yeah, we understand Deku's the main character. Yeah, if I'm doing a what if of My Hero Academia, Deku's obviously the main character. So yeah, this is what Deku's gonna look like. This isn't gonna be based off of betrayed or being left behind, or anything like that. He's gonna be kicked out of the castle by the princess and the king. So yeah. So everything goes as per normal in the My Hero Academia universe. So I'll be bringing the UA teachers as well. Why? Because I just feel like it. So Vlad King will be coming along with Class 1B. No. What if Class 1A and B were N? What if Class 1A and Class 1... What if Class 1A and Class 1B were isekai'd, basically? So Vlad King's gonna be going with them as well. Something I never really thought I'd be doing. I'll probably be adding Cementos. I'll be adding Cementos in this, so yeah. So basically, every UA teacher that I've seen, I'll be adding. Which means Cementos will be in it, All My, Aizawa, and yeah. So, let's get into it. I'm sorry, you're gonna... I'm not sick. I'm sick, but like not sick at the same time. I just have like a runny nose, so you won't be hearing that much of a cough from me unless like I feel like there's like something stuck in my throat. So yeah. Hold on. I feel weird when I drink water. Am I the only one? Like, tell me in the comments. Like, when you're about to drink water, do you just let the water flow into your mouth, like, or do you just like, just drink it, like suck the water in from the cup, or do you like let it flow inside your mouth? Because I'm going to let it flow inside my mouth. I don't just like, I don't just do this. Like, I don't do that. I just let it flow inside my mouth. So yeah. So, where do I start off? Lunch. Perfect place to start. You may be wondering, is Kendo the ship for this? No. Heck no. Kendo's for another time. Kendo's for another time. Alright, these are the ships. A Reaper. A Grim Reaper, that is. The Magic Knights captain. I honestly don't know how Deku's gonna hit it off with her, but he's gonna hit it off with her. Alright, she's gonna find him as a refugee or some shit like that, but I don't know. And then there is a mage, basically. So yeah. So this is the before of Deku and after Deku. So, nah, hold on. Forget this. Deku won't be looking like this. Personally speaking, these two look relatively similar. These look relatively similar, but I like the red eyes. No, shit, But I like the red eyes of the other one. Alright, you weren't supposed to see that one. That's for another one if that doesn't apply to this one. So, we start off at lunch. I don't know if they have recess or anything like that, but like they have recess in this AU. So UA is a college in this. You guys always gonna be a college because I need my 18 plus scenes to do for you guys. So yeah, so you guys always a college. Hold on. God damn, I really hate ginger tea. So yeah, I have to drink ginger tea for my runny nose and for my throat. My throat hurts a little bit, not as much as it did yesterday. So yeah, so this is gonna be a long what if. A long what if. Like what I mean by long, it's gonna be a long what if. Like about like 1:30, possibly 2 minutes, 2 hours. And if it's 2 hours, shit, we could even push it to 3. Who knows? So yeah. Hold on, let me do something. Sorry, I had to go get tea. Back. I have the tea now, and it's cooling off. I'm still gonna drink it hot, but not too hot to the point where it burns my tongue. So yeah, hold on. So yeah, I've changed the picture. No longer the other picture. As you saw, I deleted it. So yeah, they're basically at lunch on recess. Class. Some people in class 1B are talking to people in class 1A, and some people in class 1A are talking to class 1B. They're basically split up into two groups, where Monome is in the group of, well, Deku, Chaco, and stuff like that. So, the two groups are close to each other, then all of a sudden, two magic circles appear under the two. Two different magic circles, as they all look down, and Deku says, "What the?" Said, "What?" As all of a sudden, a flashing light can be seen, and take in mind, the teachers were watching, did not know about this. And then, all of a sudden, in Nezu's office, where the teachers are talking, as, like, take in mind, 1C, 1D, and 1E, I don't know. All I know is that there's a class 1C and 1D. I don't know if there's a 1D. So take in mind, it's only the teachers of class 1A and B and Nezu. As all of a sudden, magic circle appears. Magic circle appears. As Nezu says, what? As all of a sudden, flashing light can be seen for them too. Now, they appear in this white room as this person says, oh, a summoning circle was seen. Oh, it's you then, I guess. As everybody's in a fighting stance, and they're like, what's going on? As all of a sudden, the person just floating there says, calm down, I'm not gonna hurt you. First off, before you go to the world you're going to, I only have one thing to say. These quirks you have in your world are not inside this world. They have magic, and the only thing that limits your magical attribute, power, ability is your imagination. So, the bigger your imagination is, the easier it is for you to use magic. As he's just looking at them, as he notices Midoriya, as he says, like, that's not a disappointment, but surprise. He's trying to hide the fact that he is surprised, but on the inside, he is yelling. Because he sees so much potential inside Izuku that nobody else can and will. So, yeah. So, Izuku will look like this. So, yeah. Maybe wondering why did Izuku's hair turn white? Because technically, he's still going to be dead, but he's going to be alive. He's kind of in between the both. He's, like the dark shade of, well, white, which is now, like, grayish silver, is because he's in a state between life and death. Once once his soul leaves that body, it'll die, and, Izuku can go to a new body. But Izuku made it so that this... Sorry, you'll be hearing... Oh my god. A lot of sneezes. I'm gonna go get some water so my throat can feel unparched. So, so he made it so that that body, like that body in specific. Oh my god, hold on. So yes, yeah. Oh, sorry. You're gonna see that a lot because I just had a call. I apologize about that call. That was one of my mom's friends. I'm using my mom's phone. Why? Because, like I said, I can't use my phone. Da 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 da. The battery died. Hold on. So yeah. So Deku does that, and Deku's oh, not Deku. Sorry. Can't get the data on my phone. Sorry. So, oh god. I don't like ginger tea at all. So, Deku's minding his own business and not caring. And he's just watching, and he somehow felt like that person in the glowing light was just glaring at him. He doesn't know why. He just felt like they were glaring at him. He didn't know why, and he quite honestly didn't care. Like, his care for that matter was very small. And he was like, okay then. As the god was about to go, and he says, one more thing before you leave. There are levels in this world, depending on how high your level is. It depends on how strong you are. There are ways to level up, but it depends on if you're willing to do so. Well then, I hope you have a fun time on your departure. Goodbye. So, yeah. So, Deku, he says, alright then. As they all leave to where they were, well, teleported to. As they reach there and they see this prince and this king, as the king says, "Oh, brave heroes from another place, I ask you please save our world from the threat known as the Demon King." As Nezu, Heath says, "But of course," as the king looks down and he says, "Who are you?" As Nezu explains who he is, and the king understands, and he says, alright then, so you are the one in charge. As Nezu says, yes. As so, that happens, as the king says, well, first you need to, well, check your levels. Now, everybody's levels are high and stuff like that. Well, not high, but per se, like, mid-grade tier, basically. Quite honestly, it's not like they betrayed him. They had no they have no, like, they don't have like the right to speak in this matter, since, well, they don't hold hierarchy in basically this place they're in. Like, this place they're in is completely random to them, and they don't know where they are at all. So yeah, so they do that, and yeah, so everybody's levels are are basically put in. Bakugo got the highest level of 150 out of all the students. All Might got 200, and so did the teachers. The teachers, they varied between 200 and 250. All Might got the highest, 250. Aizawa came in with 235. Then came Mike with 210. Midnight came with 210, and Vlad came in with 200. So yeah. So now it's time for Deku, as everybody is looking to see what Deku's score is, especially All Might, as all of a sudden Deku touches the machine and it takes a long wait as it's calculating Deku's level, as it sees a 0, as they see a 0 pop up. Level 0, Izuku Midoriya. Izuku looking at this, his eyes go white as he says, "What?" As everybody's shocked, especially the king and the princess, as the princess says, "That's impossible. Nobody has gotten a level lower than 1." As Deku looks back and says, "What?" As, oh my, he's disappointed. As he says, "I would like to speak with young Midoriya in a private place." As the king says, sure, please get them to a room. As they go to a room, and Izuku says, All Might, what's wrong? As All Might says, young Midoriya, I'm disappointed in you, and I thought your progress would get you to at least the level that is in the hundreds, or even past 50, but it turns out that you're a failure, and got to 0. So I will ask this once and only once before I use force. Give me back one for all. As Deku, he's about to say something, but he remembers what All Might said. He's only saying this once before he uses force. As he plucks out a hair and said, here. As they go back, and basically, they see Bakugo laughing. They basically see Bakugo laughing, just laughing her ass off, and stuff like that. As the king says, now, it's time to go eat. As Deku tries to sit with Uraraka and Ida, but Uraraka pushes him, making his food land all over him. As the princess says, I'll take him to a room to change. Now in that room, the princess, she locked the door. And she basically tore up her clothes while Izuku was changing, and she pretended to fall and had Izuku fall on her, as she yells loudly. As all of a sudden, you see guards barging in, and said, what happened, princess? As they just see Izuku on top of the princess, as they said, how dare you? You dare try to violate the princess, as they point their spears at him. As the king walks in with all the teachers, as he says, how dare you try to rape my daughter? As take in mind, I want you to remember this. Her, yeah, her, yeah, her. See that? Yeah, her, right? Her. Wait, no, not wrong. Zoom in. Sorry. Her, right? Yeah, her. Yep, her. This girl right here. She's also a princess. She's the oldest daughter, but she didn't want to take up the role as, queen. So she decided to join the army. So the king says, seize him, and Izuku tries to run, and Izuku successfully gets out of the castle with the remaining one for all sparks. Well, sparks that he has left. Hold on. Embers, yeah, that's what it's called. As he runs out of the castle, like nobody can find him. As the king, he makes a public announcement saying, Izuku Midoriya. If they find anyone named Izuku Midoriya, seize him. He is a criminal, a refugee. He tried to rape the princess. As the first princess hears this and runs to the castle and asks what happened, her sister basically makes up a lie saying Izuku tried to rape her while she was only trying to help him change out of messed up dirty clothes. Like, this all happened in one day. As the princess says, Izuku Midoriya, I will kill you if I ever catch you. Now, as Izuku, he heard this, like, he was wearing a cloak at this time, as he just, like, sneaks out of the castle at night. He does this at night, but for some reason, at night, the first princess was walking around. She was walking around to get something to drink since, well, she was thirsty, and her throat was parched. So yeah, there's no sexual meaning behind this. She was just thirsty. So yeah, so she goes to the room that is basically the crystals and stuff like that, as she sees a name pop up on the crystal, as the name says Izuku Midoriya. As she says, huh, he was here? As she says, no, there's no way. It's tightly secured in the castle, so he has no way of getting in here without getting past the guards. As she just goes closer, and she looks on top of the name and sees level blank, blank, blank. As she says, was it? What? What's the meaning of this? As all of a sudden, the name just disappears. As she's like, what? As right when she turns to leave and close the door, all of a sudden, you basically see the head of a dragon just appear, and it does a menacingly deadly smile and laugh. As it just slowly fades away. Like, take in mind, the first princess didn't notice this. Now, if you want to know what what that represents, it represents how destructive Izuku is, and how he'll, well, possibly kill the king and the princesses. Princess, not princesses, just princess, since, well, it was only one princess that framed him. And he vowed to get stronger before he left the castle. So we take night. Izuku, he's scaling the walls with One For All, like he did when he was about to fight Stain, basically jumping from wall to wall until he gets to the top as he jumps off. Now, take in mind, this is on a side where there are no guards. Like, no guards at all. As he just runs away, basically. As the guards see him, and they're like, huh? What's that? As the other guard says, no, it's probably some rabid animal. Animals usually roam at night. As he said, oh, alright then. As Izuku, he successfully gets out. And, so that happens. And, Izuku, he has a little knife in his hand. You might be wondering, where did he get the knife? Before he left the castle, he took the knife that the princess used to tear up her clothes in a fake manner, and he ran away with it. Now, Izuku, he's been walking for months now. We skip to a month later. Bakugo and friends have gotten stronger. Bakugo is no longer level 150. He is currently level 270. Why? Due to, well, One For All, it gave him a major scale boost, so he got an extra 100 power boost, which gave him 250. And then there's also the 20 levels he gained by training. Now, you can get levels by killing monsters. There are starter areas, advanced areas, and supreme areas. There are even dungeons and mazes and tombs of, well, ancient people. Really, ancient people. There are also labyrinths. So, Izuku, he basically does that. And Izuku, he's basically been walking around for, well, a month, I told you, like I said. And the only thing he's been eating is cactuses, alright? He hasn't thought about eating monsters or anything. He's just been eating cactuses. Like, he's not eating the sharp parts. Like, he hurts his arms a lot until, he just got used to the pain. Like, the pain got numbed as he's just peels the skin normally, like it's nothing, and just eats it. Like, he's been pricked so much times in the arms that his skin has gotten much tougher to the point where it can withstand just the pricks alone. But any other monster, like a scratch from a monster, could definitely make him bleed. So he does that. So Izuku has basically been wandering around, and then all of a sudden, Izuku, he's just walking. He takes a step forward, and all of a sudden, he falls. And 10 minutes later, he wakes up as he says, what happened? As he looks and he sees that he's in a dark room, and he says, what? Is this a tomb? As Izuku says, whatever, I guess I'll explore. But to his surprise, there are monsters there. And not just regular monsters like level 3s, level 4s, and shit like that. No, there are monsters that are that vary between 1,000 to 10,000 levels. And they're basically the weakest of these animals inside that tomb. So there will be much higher levels and monsters. Like, take in mind, this is only this tomb is only an easy level tomb. Alright, there will be many more tombs that he will come into contact with. As Izuku, he only has a knife. As he's like, what? I can't fight these. I'm level 0. As all of a sudden, Deku just hears a voice from the back of his head that says, "Kill," in a menacing voice, and he says, "Huh? Who's there?" As he just hears it again, "Kill." As he says, "Who are you? Where are you?" As he just hears over and over again, "Kill, kill, 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 kill." As Izuku, he's basically thinks he's going insane, and he's basically hearing it echo throughout his head, and he's yelling as he says, "Ah!" As taken, and one of the wolves charge at him. Like, these are wolves, take in mind. These are wolves, alright? As they charge at him. Wait. These are wolves, like highly trained wolves. They're really strong wolves. And that will have a familiar. Yeah. I'll show you the familiar. No, not. I won't be showing you the familiars, at least not right now. So yeah. So Deku, he says, alright, I'll do it. As the voices slowly die down, as Deku gets up, picks up the knife in a murderous position and notices that the wolf is coming towards him. As he dodges this and the wolf pounces again, as Deku, he doesn't have much time, but he analyzed the wolf and he thought of a pressure point. He thought, this is a gamble. As he just bolts to the wolf and he aims for the neck of the wolf, or the nape, and he slits it, and the wolf bleeds out as the wolf is dead. As Izuku says, "God damn it, I don't even have mastery of magic yet. I'm already finding monsters." As all of a sudden, Deku's just seeing a lot of level ups pop up on his screen. As it says, "Congratulations, level reached 1,000. Skills, strength has been amplified by 2,000. Agility has been amplified by 2,000. Intelligence has been amplified by 2,000. Defense has been amplified by 1,000. As he's wondering, what? Why is defense so low? Magic capabilities have been amplified by 2,000, as he says. Alright then. She says, I'm level 1,000. I should be able to take these guys on with my bare hands, but I don't trust that yet. So he continuously slaughters the monsters. As he says, it doesn't matter. And yeah, so he slaughters them. He looks at his stats and he sees level 5,000. As he says, wait a minute. The XP gets bigger, so the amount of levels I get will get smaller. But still, everything's at 10,000 except for my defense. My defense is fairly fine, since it can probably take attacks from at least 5 of those monsters at once. As Deku says, I guess I'll stay here and try to, consume the mana. As Deku, he doesn't take much liking to eating these wolves or anything, so he just continues eating the cactus. As he's just sitting there meditating as he says, what was it that I read about magic again? Ah, right. Magic gets condensed into the core. Alright then, let's try it. As he just meditates like he saw inside of a book. Well, at least that's what the god told him, basically. The god told him that. Sorry I didn't put it in, but the god told him that. As Deku just meditates. Like, Deku, his hair has gotten, like, it's not this long, but it's at least the length of, like, you see the tip of that hair right there, the one that you see in a circle, just making a circle right now? Yeah. So, that's the length of his hair, alright? It's not the whole, back length and shit like that. It's just shoulder length. So, he does that, and, like, his hair doesn't start turning white yet. So yeah. So he does that, and he condenses mana, as he thinks mana, or magic, your capabilities with it depends on, well, your imagination. He says, this will be nice. As, while he's meditating, he just sees Dragon Head in front of him. As the Dragon Head smiles and says, "Kuh. Look at who's getting stronger." As Izuku says, "Who are you?" As he says, "I am at the end of this dungeon." I think it was tomb, right? Yeah, tomb. I'm at the end of this tomb. Why don't you come and find out, boy? That is, if you have the courage to. Now, let's get back to Class 1A. Like, alright, Izuku, let's do a time skip. Month. Izuku has been inside the time skip, but, like, let's talk about, like, Class 1A. Everybody has gotten fairly stronger, and they've actually forgotten about, well, Izuku. Except for Bakugo, because he remembers the damn nerd because he likes to bully him. As everybody forgot about Izuku. Surprisingly, even Momo, who has that much of a great memory thanks to her quirk, forgot about him. Like teachers and stuff like that, even Nezu. Surprisingly, right? The smartest person in the world forgets about a student. So, yeah. So, he does that, and they've gotten fairly stronger. And, damn, y'all weren't supposed to see those. Well, not the ones on the top, at least. Just exposed myself when I didn't even need to. Doesn't matter. So, Izuku, he does that. So, Class 1A have gotten fairly stronger. Everybody's in range of getting to 300, alright? The teachers, though, they're on, 400. They're on 400, basically. So, Izuku already surpassed all of them. But he feels like he's not strong enough. He feels like, oh, they'll get stronger than me no matter how strong I get. He's basically looking down on himself thinking, oh, he's weak as hell. But in actuality, he's actually the strongest one. So, Izuku does that. And he's been in the dungeon for 1 month. And during this month, like halfway throughout the month, like if you're wondering what he did on the first half, he just kept slaughtering the monsters after they respawn. Like the monsters respawn every 10 to 15 minutes. So Izuku has exactly 15 minutes to, well, meditate to get better understanding of his magic. And he uses those mostly wind magic inside of the tomb, and takes the air out of the wolves' mouths. As the wolves, they die. Once the boss of the tomb is killed, it'll die down. Like all the monsters will die. So yeah. So Izuku does that, and now it's the second one. And for the second one, it has monkey-like animals, gorilla-like animals, and basically, I think it was grasshoppers. No, not grasshoppers. I think it was grasshoppers. Mantises, yes, praying mantises. Yes, praying mantises. So Deku has a hard time with the praying mantises and the gorilla type ones, since, well, the monkeys, he's at a disadvantage with the monkeys, but he has the hardest time with the gorillas and the praying mantises. The praying mantises have a reach, basically. Once you get into at least within a 15 feet radius of them, they can attack you from anywhere. It depends on your speed. Now, for the monkey, now he's down. The monkey can beat him in speed, but he found a way to stop the monkey because he noticed that out of every animal in here, the monkey seems to be actually living. So what he does is take the oxygen out of the air around the monkey and basically kill the monkey due to suffocation. And Izuku, every time he does that, he gets levels higher and he gets speed. So Izuku, he says, alright, I feel like I'm ready now. So Izuku, his speed is all the way at like the monkeys, they rapidly respawn. Like every 30 seconds a monkey respawns, basically, or a monkey spawns in every 30 seconds. So every 30 seconds a monkey spawns in. And Izuku takes at least 2 minutes killing a monkey. Until he got to the point where he hit, 20,000 speed. As Izuku, he's just running around, catching the monkeys and just blitzing them, just slamming their heads into the floor. As, take in mind, Izuku, he's been using a knife this whole time. Just one knife. The whole time. To do this. And he reinforces the knife. He doesn't need to reinforce it, actually. The knife, he fixes it with magic. Not like, reinforcement magic or anything, no. Alright. There are microorganisms in the air, but there are also small particles of every element. So that means there are tiny sparks in the air, and there's also, materials to make water, fire, and even dust in the air. Combine that dust together, you can make earth. Now then, Izuku, see, since, this world, I wouldn't say they're in the modern era, but they have things like saws and stuff like that, like the electric saws and stuff like that. So they basically have no problem with making castles big and stuff like that. So yeah. So the castles are still made out of stone, so Izuku, there are particles of metal in the air. As Deku, he's only limited to iron when it comes to materials, as he just continuously creates the knife with iron. And he even made a handle, like a proper handle of the knife, so he can use it perfectly fine. Now, Izuku, rarely he would actually make gloves out of it. He would make gloves. You may be wondering, how is he making the gloves? Well, he makes wind gloves. He makes gloves out of the wind around him. His hands are basically like a vacuum that, is shaped like his hand. It's a vacuum that's shaped like his hand. So, the wind just forms around his hand. As he can control that wind to make, slashes. So basically, it's not him slashing through space, but he's basically controlling the air directly. He's basically slashing through air. It's not like slashing through space or anything like that, but he's slashing through air. So yeah. So Izuku did that. As he says, alright then, let's get into it. As he's basically beating up many monsters. Many monsters. As his speed, after he takes his time, he makes sure that it takes him at least a whole few minutes to get the monkeys out, which means that there's time for monkeys to spawn in. And the Tomb Master started to notice that the monkey's spawn rate is getting too, weak for Izuku, to the point where he has to wait those 30 seconds. So he amps up the time that it respawns to just half a second. Cause remember, the master of this tomb is a dragon, or a dragonoid, a human type dragon, a humanoid dragon basically. As he's a full grown dragon, but he's in human form right now. So yeah, so Izuku does that, and basically, he's basically fighting many monkeys, as Izuku's just catching up against the monkeys and stuff like that. To the point where he says, "Alright, I'm done with the monkeys, now it's time to go after the gorilla." Now, the gorilla spawn rate is at least every 1 minute. And Izuku's speed is at 1 million. Like, he had to continuously fight them, and he like, his stamina kept going down and going up at the same time, down, up. Like, the levels of the monkey are basically 15,000. So Deku, his current level is basically at least, I'd say, about 30,000. So he's going around, and now he's going up against the gorilla. The monkeys aren't fairly in strength, so he barely gets any strength stats. But now he's fighting, oh no. He's basically now fighting, the gorilla. As the gorilla, it's stomping around and stuff like that, and even has spin moves. And Izuku says, "Damn it, this is gonna be hard." So Izuku, he aims for the head of the monkeys and the legs, or to be exact, the calves of the monkeys. As he beat his first monkey, but that was after 5 minutes. And already in this time, 5 more gorillas have already spawned in. As Izuku says, "Fine." As he continues, like, his strength stats went up every time to the point where he had 1 million strength. As he says, "Alright then, I feel like I'm strong enough to take on the praying mantis. But the thing is that reach. So I'll train durability." As there is no durability stats in this world. It's only, well, defense. It's not durability or endurance, it's just plain old defense. Basically, Izuku, he has magical defense, but he doesn't want to do it. He wants to use his own body's strength. Hold on. So yeah. Hold on. Deku's level is exactly, at the moment, is exactly 65,000. Alright, there will be points where he gets to millions, trillions, quadrillions, quintillions, septrillions, but that's for another time. Alright? It's for another time. A very other time. So, Izuku, like, remember, time in this world will be different from the time in the outside. Currently, the time that Izuku and his class have spent inside here, this 2 months, is basically like 1 second in his world. Not half a second. 0.000 seconds, alright? So yeah, it's basically 1,000th of a second, as, like, we have to get back in time for, like, the sports festival and shit like that, so yeah. So they do that, and basically, Deku, he's basically minding his own business, just training. Like, Izuku, he stayed, like, take in mind, like, Izuku, it's been 5 months. Izuku, he did not think that he deserved to fight the mantis right now due to the mantis's reach, and because of the blade-like, the blade-like flaps on the mantis's arms. So, Izuku, he basically stayed doing endurance training, like, basically, hold on, limiting his strength and, basically punching walls. Now, during this time, Izuku, hold on. So yeah, so class 1A spent a year in there, and over this time, Izuku has spent that year just killing gorillas and getting his endurance up. But during the week when he was doing push-ups and punching the walls and just slamming and kicking the walls and just slamming his whole body into the wall, he unlocked 4 new stats. physical endurance, body endurance. Alright, you may be wondering, what is physical endurance? Alright, physical endurance is different from body endurance. Alright, physical endurance is basically counts as like how much you can take when it comes to, well, like extreme temperatures and extreme exercises like putting gravity on somebody. So yeah, so and then there's physical endurance, which is basically like wait, what did I say? Fist endurance, fist endurance, leg endurance, body endurance, and physical endurance. Body endurance is basically like being able to withstand like having muscles torn over and over again. And Izuku has that as one of the highest stats, since Izuku's like endurance when it comes to like his basic build of a body is just like a cheat. Why? Because Izuku, he's been going through multiple tendons being ripped inside of his body in and out because of, well, the things he's been doing. He's been punching walls abnormally. And the One For All users just disappeared from Izuku's mind. Like Izuku, he actually casted them aside himself. When he was doing the meditation, and when he started doing the meditation, the One For All users tried to talk to him, but he said, "Get out." As they said, "What?" As he said, "Get out, go to your new successor." As they said, but as his eyes opened inside his mind and he yells, "Get out!" As they feel this immense pressure from Izuku, this pressure of hatred. And they said, "Alright," and left. As that happens, so Izuku, his body is basically getting stronger. Basically, really strong. To the point where he has everything to 1,000,000. As he said, "Alright then, let's do this." As his strength and speed have now been, well, have gotten to at least, take in mind the monkeys have been getting created faster. Like it's no longer like half a millisecond, but just it's just 1/1,000,000th of a second, and they're just there. They just pop up. As Zuko, he's just fighting them over and over again, getting, well, millions, billions, quadrillions. He is so strong, that he's so fast that his speed is up to at least 500 million. His speed is 500 million. As he says, "Alright then." Now he's going to the gorillas. Now he can't fully control his speed, as he can only control at least half of it, which is 250 percent speed, as he's basically mollywopping the gorilla, basically, and enduring the hits of the gorilla. Like, his body endurance, spiritual endurance is getting stronger. His spiritual endurance is basically his will, basically he's just getting punched and stuff like that. His body endurance is getting stronger, because the first time he took a punch from it, it broke his bone. As Izuku, he says, "I'm gonna endure it." As he then gained a title, and the title said, "Will of the Conqueror." You may be wondering, why is it called Will of the Conqueror? Because, did he conquer anything? Yes, he already conquered the gorilla one time. Now it's just talking about his willpower, his spiritual power, like how much he wants to endure, how much he wants to get stronger, faster. Doesn't matter. He'll get there, as it says that his progress rate will be 10 times as strong for any monster that he has conquered. Like, so basically him leveling up will be at least 10 times, make him 10 times stronger. Like, everything he gets, like XP will be 10 times. His progress will be 10 times with things that he's conquered. So that means wind control. His wind control is so strong that he's able to gather enough crystals, magic crystals, to make one full-blown magic crystal, and actually cause it to explode. So his control over wind magic has gotten much stronger, to the point where he's at an advanced level like elves. As he says, alright then, maybe I should try gravity magic. As he never tried gravity magic, so he's trying the first time. Hold on. As he's just thinking what his gravity will be, an area of pressure, basically, as he puts it on his whole body, as he's only able to do 2 times. As he says, alright, as he does it on himself, as he does push-ups, and it's much harder to do push-ups, but once he achieves 1 push-up, it gets slightly easier, to the point where after just 10 push-ups, he has to go all the way to 4 times. No, not 4 times, 20 times, basically. His body is able to withstand 20 times gravity. So his body endurance, will endurance, and spiritual endurance, and physical endurance are extremely strong. Like, they're on the same level as his speed. They're basically 500 million, but they're innate. Those are innate things, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Like, he still has yet to conquer the praying mantis. So he beats the gorilla multiple times, and he thinks, alright, now it's time to fight the mantis. Now, he gets into the 15 feet radius of the mantis, and the mantis hits him. The mantis thinks that he killed Izuku since it aimed for the neck, but when it looked, it seemed like it didn't even touch Izuku, like it won't even go inside his neck. That's how strong his body and will endurance is, to the point where he doesn't even have to use magic defense. As, take in mind, Izuku, he's still wearing a cloak. Like, my boy Deku is still wearing a cloak, so you see this in the picture, he's not wearing that, suit. And Izuku, he's been in there for a year now. So this is when his hair finally grows to the length in the picture. As his facial features have yet to look like that in the picture, basically. He still looks like the Deku he is. But his eyes, they've gotten smaller. Why? Because of Izuku's lack of emotions that are shown. Izuku, he just shows a look of, well, emotionless. He has like an emotionless expression, but he's not actually emotionless. He just doesn't show emotions that much. So, yeah. And he goes, like, at blinding speed, he goes in front of the mantis. And he punches the mantis in the chest. One of the hardest places of the mantis. And he says, God damn it. It's strong. As the mantis, it looks down. And its eyes squint as if it's smiling and saying, you can't get through this body defense, as Izuku says. As Izuku, he's showing emotion. Something that the mantis or any of the other animals have seen. As Izuku, he smiles and laughs and says, God damn it, I was getting bored of that wall anyways. As all of a sudden, Izuku, he's moving at blinding speeds, taking out gorillas, monkeys, and punching the praying mantis' shell, basically strengthening his fist endurance, his will, his conqueror's will, and many more. As the mantis, it's basically just taking these hits. It's taking these, because the praying mantis is, well, defense. It's using magic defense, not regular defense. Because if he used regular defense, Izuku would have blown its body away a long time ago. So he's only gonna get like 1 time from the praying mantis. And take in mind, the praying mantis is 30,000 levels. 30,000. Yes, 30,000 levels. And you're thinking Izuku could rarely be able to take care of it, but it's based on stats. It's based on stats, not really the level. You could be a high-ass level, but it's based on stats. And you may be wondering, what does Izuku what did he put stat points in? Yes, they do have stat points. Izuku, he put in luck. He feels like if he has more luck, he can have more opportunities. And when he got to 100 luck, he got a 2 times boost. But now he's at level 500,000, and he put all those like 500,000 luck stats into one stat, like 500,000 luck. And it says that like, when it got to that point, it said that his progress rate would be 500 times. So Izuku, he's not doing 500 times just that much. No, it's 5,000 for him. Multiply the 10 and the 10 and the 500. Izuku's stats are basically that strong. No, did I say 500? No, sorry. It's 500,000 multiplier, basically. His stats are 5 million. Yeah, sorry. So Izuku's stats are 5 million, and he started to notice this because he only put stat points into luck one time, and that gave him to 1,000. Because it was actually when he was facing the praying mantis that he decided, oh, you know what? Open status, and he saw the status come up, and he saw that he had a lot of status, and he says all stat points to luck, as all of a sudden a pop-up screen goes up and says luck 500,000, progress rate 500,000, progress rate in all 5 million. As Deku says, what? As all of a sudden he's basically climbing ranks when it comes to basically the monsters. As when it comes to levels, Izuku's level has now reached 5 billion, and his stats are all 100 times bigger than his level. All of his stats are 500 billion. As he says, as Taken Mine, during this time, the dungeon master notices this, and he says, summon more praying mantises, gorillas, monkeys, and stuff like that to keep him on that level. As he's done that, he's basically been doing that. As Deku, he's putting pressure on himself as well. Deku, he has the pressure he's withstanding right now is that of trillions. It's 500 trillion, and it's really heavy for him. It's keeping him on the ground, so he's limited to movements. The only thing he could do is run and walk, but even the running is slow. He's just doing light sprints. And Izuku, he's not using the knife for this. He's using his bare fists, because he decided, I'm destroying the knife, I don't need it. As Taken Mine, if Izuku, when Izuku lets go of the gravity, his speed will be multiplied. Since the gravity is, enchanting his speed. Now, his speed is going up rapidly, faster than any of his, his speed, his body endurance, and, stuff are basically getting up faster than everything else, alright? As Izuku, at the end of it, when he finally conquers the praying mantis, he's able to use Conqueror's Will. And Conqueror's Will, it leveled up, and it says 20% now. Now, Deku, he gets 10 million times the normal thing, as God says, as the master says, God damn it! That's it. Spawn rate Infinite 01. As Deku sees just a swarm of monsters. Take in mind, it's a really, 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 really large place. It has it might be considered to have every floor has infinite of space. As Deku says, damn it, it'll be hard. Damn it, it's already hard to find the exit. Now I have to fight all of these guys. Damn it. As he's going all out and all out and all out and all out. His Conqueror's Will is basically going berserk by all the monsters that he's defeating, strengthening Conqueror's Will. As Izuku, he unlocked a new skill. It says, explain. Izuku, you may be wondering, where's the scientific parts about these? It's basically the things that Izuku is doing. He's testing out basically everything he could do in this world, the possibilities. Everything that happens in this world is based on his imagination, what he thinks he can and cannot do. And Izuku, we know damn well he thinks he can do anything, even reach the gods themselves. as every time Izuku is going to sleep at night, because that's the only time he gets a break from the god when it's time to go to sleep, because the god knows that Izuku's actually gonna go to sleep. Like before he goes to bed, he prays and he looks up and reaches for the stars and says, "Hey God, you remember when we first met? I want you to wait for me. I'll come see you when the time is right." As the god, he hears Izuku's will. Conqueror's will just roars out like... Alright, that wasn't very nice, but okay. So yeah, it was like kind of like a lion's roar or a tiger's roar. As the god felt this, and it was basically like Izuku's will. As he gets another stat. Like new innate skills. It says the conqueror of the skies, the conqueror of the world, and the conqueror of the gods. Now then, conqueror of the sky basically gives him 100, gives him another times 10 boost. Conqueror of the world times 100. Conqueror of the gods gives him 20. Hold on. And that should add up to somewhere within the billions, alright? No, trillions. Yes, trillions. Hold on. Yes, trillions. Izuku, yeah. No, quadrillions. He has 1 quadrillion times the rate of, well, getting stronger. As Izuku, he's been doing it for so long that he doesn't even want to sleep anymore. His lack of sleep has gotten to him. He says, "God damn it, you useless lord of this tomb. Forget sleep. I'm gonna body every monster in here. When I get to you, I'm gonna kill you." Hold on. Oh my god, hold on. As the master of the tomb hears this, and he smiles a menacing smile, and on that floor a voice is heard. Damn. This is really fun, boy. Then come. I'll personally kill you. As Izuku smirks and says, "Try me," as he just charges at the monsters and continuously kills them. As his level is going up rapidly, as he says status while fighting the monsters, as he says, for all stat points and future stat points, put them in luck. As a new skill generates, as it says, generating skill, air, skill generated. As he says, what? A new skill? I didn't know skills generated. Is this the first? As it says, auto stat point giver. As it says, please say what stats you want it to go to. It will give it to that specific stat equally. As he says, luck. As it says, yes. As basically Izuku, his levels are going up, and over this time, the master of the dungeon has been playing these things. Like, he's the god of all dragons, basically. He's god of dragons, so he's a celestial being. As he's been putting levels on levels, like it's as if his mana is endless. As the levels of the monsters are going up and up and up, to the point where Izuku, he actually merges. To the point where he actually merges all the floors, and many monsters start coming, merges all the floors, and the next floor there is the tomb of the boss. Now here's the monsters that Izuku has to fight. The wolves, the monkey, mice, many other animals, lizard men, dragons, dark fairies, dark elves, like many other ones. Like the dark elves, they're dead dark elves. They're not even real, like living dark elves. All these animals are dead, and all of a sudden, there's wolves in the shadow. There's animals in the shadows as well. Like the levels now are varying from 1 trillion to 1 quadrillion. As Deku, he's basically having the worst time of his life with these, to the point where Izuku, he starts fighting. Basically, he starts fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting, as he says, "I'll kill you." And to this point, Izuku's hair is dyed blood red from the blood of the monsters. Izuku has been basically dyeing his hair with the blood of the monsters, as he's basically taking showers of blood. And his eyes, they turned red. Not this red, but blood red. Why blood red? Because of all the blood that he's been seeing, the bloodshed. In Class 1A, like, it's been 2 years. It's been a year since they seen Deku. Like I said, they forgot about him, except for Bakugo. As Bakugo walks in one day and says, I bet that useless nerd Deku is dead. As everybody, they turn and look at Bakugo, as Bakugo says, what? They said, who's Deku? As Bakugo says, you forgot who Deku is? Well then, let me refresh your memories. He's the one that tried to rape the second princess. As everybody says, that bastard! Now I remember. Basically, everybody. Except for Aizawa, Nezu, and Midnight, and Hazashi, and Vlad King. Now, take in mind the class, they have finally reached the state of, like, the class varies between 2,000 and 3,000 now, since they're intermediate now. The teachers are between 10,000 and 15,000, while Izuku, he's in the trillions, quadrillions. Now, like, and then we do a 2-year time skip. As Deku says, as take in mind, like, this 2-year time skip, it hasn't been long. This 2-year time skip, it's like the only amount of time that has passed inside of the outside world is I said 1 millionth, right, of a second. I said 1 million. 1,000. Yeah, 1 millionth of a second. It's only 100th of a millionth of a second that has passed in the outside world. 100,000th of a second. As everybody's acting like it's a normal day. As, like, everybody will start notice when, months go by and nobody noticed and nobody remembers them. So, yeah. So, Izuku, he's basically fighting for his life. Stuff like that. So, he's basically dying to himself. As he says, it's been 2 years. 2 goddamn years. As he decides, alright then, I guess it's time. As his luck stats are so strong that he has an infinite boost on XP and everything, like his endurance and stuff like that. Everything is now infinity. The only thing that's not infinity is his control of magic. As he says, alright then, he blitzes the tower and basically beats the door down to the boss. As the boss, he says, oh, you have finally come. Well then, come die to my hand, boy. As he fights them. And that fight goes on for 2 more years. The two just fight each other, just getting stronger and stronger. And Izuku's getting stronger and stronger and stronger as well. Like, Izuku's not using magic because he doesn't even have time to think about anything magical. The only thing he's using is basically his wind gloves that have a strong durability, just fighting the dude. As after those 2 years, the master of the dungeon finally gives up and says, I've lost. Kill me. As Izuku says, with pleasure. As Izuku kills him. And that's it. Izuku kills him, and all of a sudden, a mark appears on Izuku. This mark appears on Izuku's head. And as Izuku, the mark appears on Izuku's head, Izuku falls to his knees, just yelling in agony, because this is just burning into his skin. Not just burning into his skin and his head, but his soul, his body. It's basically going inside of his body, basically. And this is basically an inscription that says one who has, it's basically a symbol that represents one who has transcended beyond the human, the demi-human, any form that has a human itself in it. Even he's transcended past a humanoid dragon. As Izuku, he passes out from exhaustion for a whole year. As he says, alright then, that's done. As he also took the rights of the dungeon from the, master. As Izuku says, alright then, that's taken care of. As he says, alright then, guess it's time to get stronger with magic. So, he gets so strong with magic. He first starts with, basically, air. To the point where he doesn't even have to make a movement. He can just think of the movement in wind magic, and it will happen with the wind. The wind itself is protecting him. He has such a relationship with the wind that Izuku, what he does is personally make a friend with the wind. And the spirits of wind, basically, the magical essence of the wind magic, basically sees how Izuku is treating the wind like a friend, family, not just foe or sparring partner, but one of the best and closest person that he's had to him. And he's loved the wind spirit, and the wind spirits love Izuku. They see how he cares for them. He loves them. Izuku does not do anything wrong with them, and he even helps them train with the other monsters lower. And when the monsters just be it Izuku, he destroys the monsters and protects the wind spirits and basically heals them. And he does that with every other element. And then, after doing that, all of a sudden, a mark. Izuku, all of a sudden, a mark appears on Izuku's chest. Izuku's feeling this burning pain in his chest as he just takes off his shirt. And all of a sudden, sees this mark appear. He sees this mark appear on his chest as it's hurting. It's hurting him a lot. The only thing he doesn't have is this in the middle. And that's demonic magic. That's basically the demonic version of all those magics. It's hurting. The thing in the middle is the only thing he doesn't have. But these marks on the side, he does have them. Yes, he's just thriving in agony, just yelling. And Izuku, he yells for a whole year. And he yells for a whole year in pain, and he passes out. For not just 1 year, but 10 whole years. To which now, it's just been at least 1/10,000th of a year of a second in the outside world, or his world, as Izuku has been passed out for 10 years. And basically, he sees spiritual versions of the elements. As Izuku, he sits upwards and says, who are you guys? As the spirit said, As the wind spirit says, guys, he's here. As the spirit said, Izuku? As they all run to him and tackle him and said, Izuku! They basically all look like kids. As Izuku says, who are you guys? As they said, we're the spirits of, the elements. As basically, he sees the spirits, as he says, the green one, you're the spirit of plants, aren't you? As he says, yep, correct. As he sees a gray-haired one, earth, correct? Red-haired one, fire. White-haired one, wind. A yellow-haired one, light. Black-haired one, darkness. As he sees one with one with mushy type gray. As he says, gravity? As he says, correct, as he sees one with blue hair, water. As he sees many different shades of colors, and he's basically naming elements like earth and stuff like that, and he sees one with two different color hair, and he says, I don't know you. What element are you? As that one goes up and says, sorry, Izuku, it didn't show up, in your status earlier, but I think it should be there now. I'm a yin-yang spirit. I'm basically a spirit of life. As he says, when did I learn life energy? As he says, so, it kind of happened when you mastered all the elements. Once you mastered all the elements, you got the basic formulas for life, and yeah, that makes me. As he says, really? She says, yeah. As he says, yeah. As it tackles Izuku. No, forget that. It's not one with blue and black and white hair. It's one with a bright, like a bright yellow hair. Alright, a really bright yellow hair, and one with a pitch black, like, how would I say this? A really dark shade of black hair, like black hole type shade, phantom black shade. As they're two twins, as they like Izuku a lot. Like, it's not like they don't get along with any of their other siblings, like their siblings, the spirits are siblings. As all of a sudden he hears a voice and says, oh dear, kids, I told you not to run to him. As all of the elements just turn around and said, Mom. As basically they just see this glowing figure. He sees this glowing figure that's basically in rainbow. As he says, who are you? As he says, dear, let me introduce myself. It's not normally rare for people to see me, since I'm usually shy. I'm Eleonora, the spirit goddess. As he says, the goddess of spirits? Why are you here? As he says, well, you have a unique connection with my kids, and due to that, you have a very special connection with me as well. As he says, well, some of the other gods have taken a liking to you as well, especially the war and power god. As he says, wow. As she says, well, I'm just here to introduce myself. I have to leave now. As Izuku says, no, wait, please, stay inside as long as you need. As she says, really? As Izuku says, yeah, you can stay inside my head as long as you need. It's not like you'll get harmed anyways, unless I die. But even if I die, I'll come back. As the life spirit said, yeah, of course he'll come back, he has us by his side. As the goddess of spirits says, you boys are really interesting. Well, I guess I should introduce you to another one of their siblings. It's actually one that's not ever been used a lot. He's a rare type of spirit. It's one that you learn after. It's a spirit that you get after, well, you've got a relationship with me. I won't ask you to be my kin or my worshipper. It's just that I wish to have a fruitful relationship with you. As she's kind of shy saying this, as Zuko hugs her and her eyes just sparkle and widen as she says, what? As Izuku says, you don't have to ask to have a fruitful relationship or offer me anything. Just seeing you here trying to support me is enough. Of course I'll have a fruitful relationship with you, whether it's in this life or the afterlife. As she hears that, as she cries silently. As Izuku says, did I say something wrong? As she says, no, it's just that I've never heard anything so heartwarming as this. As, take in mind, like the gods are watching this, and they're bawling after hearing that. As the gods are bawling. And the gods are thinking she's one of the most frowned upon goddesses in God. It's so nice of him to have a relationship with her. I wish to meet this boy, he's so ambitious. Yet he has enough time to speak his mind to somebody else. That's not even part of his life currently. As she just cries in his arms, basically just hugging him tighter. As finally she lets go and says, here's my gift. So yeah, as all of a sudden, this sparkly light appears, as then all of a sudden it just shines, and they just see this kid appear, as his arms, his eyes, they're like Gojo's eyes, basically. Like, like the like the sparkliness of Gojo's eyes. Yeah, the sparkliness of the six eyes is basically what the sparkle in the kid's eyes is. But instead of it just being blue, like ocean sky blue, it's actually rainbow colored. As Izuku says, "Who's this?" As the spirit says, "Hello." No, it says Papa. As Izuku says, Papa. I don't know what you're talking about. As she says, as the goddess says, calm down, Izuku. It's not like that. You helped me create a new spirit. This is the spirit of immortality. It's your child. It'll grow. It's your child. Technically our child, since I'm the one that created it. And it was due to your achievements I was able to create it. As it grows, as you grow, it'll grow stronger as well, and it seems to be growing at an extremely fast rate due to how big your your progress is. And as Izuku says, huh? As it says, yeah, your progress is infinity. So the spirits are growing as fast as you are. But they'll always stay in the child form and have the child mentality. As Izuku says, oh, alright then. As it says, maybe when they get to my level, they'll be even stronger than me. As he smiles and he goes to her and he says, I promise you. As she says, promise me what? She says, I promise to take care of these kids, even if it's on my life. I promise. As she smiles and says, thank you, Izuku. But it looks about time for you to wake up, as Izuku says, huh? How long have I been asleep? And she says, 10 years. As he says, 10 years? I have to get on my exploring. How long has it been in the outside world and my world? As the goddess says, oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. It hasn't even been a second. As he says, really? As it says, yeah. As Izuku says, whew, alright then. So Izuku, he's basically just looking around. As he says, alright then. As Izuku, he gets out and he's wearing this shirt now. He's wearing this shirt and his hair turned white due to the immortality. Immortality spirit. So he made the spirits combine into one. It's one rainbow spirit. It has like an affinity. Or to be exact, it's kind of like a shell for Izuku. He made a barrier, basically, a magical barrier, that he's able to talk to. They don't get damaged by any physical attacks or anything like that. It has to be a magical attack, but even if it's a magical attack, he'll instantly take off the barrier and tank the attack, as that's how he has a better connection with the spirits. So, yeah, as the goddess of spirits goes back up to the god's domain to get hugged by every god, as she says, oh my, what's happening? As they explain their thoughts on the matter, as she says, oh, I never really thought of me that way. As he says, of course we do. You're one of us. Why would we look down on you? Sure, many humans, elves, many other races may look down on you, but we don't. We're the same race as you. So lean on us. As she says, alright. As the goddess says, of power says, well, that's not it for now. I still have yet to meet the young man. Maybe I'll meet him the next time he passes out. As she says, as they said, yeah, we'll meet him on our own time. And even the evil gods said that as well. As everybody says, did the evil gods actually say that? As they said, yeah, we may be evil gods, but this kid is interesting. For once, I'm actually encouraged. I want him to be a hero. As they all the evil gods nod in agreement. As everybody nods in agreement. As they were like, alright then. So Izuku, after doing that, and basically like his hair is not fully white. It's like a light green now. It's like a light green. His hair is a light green. All right, his hair is light green. It's not that white right now. So yeah. So Izuku, he gets out of the tomb and he starts walking, and he has wind resistance. He also has thermal fluctuation. Due to him being able to control both fire, water, air, and blood. He created blood from actually putting blood in his body, putting water in his body, and taking that water out with blood, and he tried to control it. He's had a hard time with it, but after successfully doing it one time, he had infinite control over it. So basically, Izuku's control over everything, space and time itself, is great, but he'll face stronger opponents. His stats are still limited. His stats, yeah, they're in the infinites, but there are things beyond the infinites. There are things that have transcended the infinites. Alright? There's infinite plus, and there's eternity, then there's eternity, then there's limitless. And not the limitless from Jujutsu Kaisen. Yeah, I'm gonna say that now. Not like the limitless from Jujutsu Kaisen. Well, it's still like that, but still. Like, it's talking about like his possibilities and growth and stuff like that. And Izuku says, alright then. So, Izuku, he does that. As he's going, as all of a sudden, while he's going, he sees two animals lying on the ground. Ignore the ships for now. Ignore the ships. He sees two little wolves. A little wolf that looks like this. Well, a little wolf with blue stripes and two tiny horns and tiny wings, and one with a hollow, basically. A tiny version of these two. As they look like they're starving and have been beat, as Izuku, he's not having this. Izuku, he immediately picks up the two due to his kind nature. Sure, he hates humans due to Class 1A, but animals, he's more than happy to help them. Like, his relationship with humankind would be the worst. It's as if he'd have Black Air Force energy towards everyone. And take in mind, Class 1B knew about what happened to Deku. Class 1B actually came after Deku. After Deku was banished. Because they were sent to a different locate. They had to talk to the god. As the god after Class 1A. And the class basically talked to the god for at least 10 minutes. And in that 10 minutes, everything happened. So, yeah, take in mind. The Elder Princess is still looking for Izuku. But she doesn't know how Izuku looks now. As she is, 5'7". 5'7" as well. 5'6", and Izuku will be 5'11", 5'10". Alright, 5'10". As Izuku says, alright then. As he's just walking with the little pups in the air. As Izuku, he gets to a dungeon. As he had animal meat, as like it was actually from animals that you can actually eat. Oh my god, I'm sorry. It was from actual animals that you can eat in that desert. So Izuku, it was like lizards basically. The lizards in this world are really big, so Izuku had enough, and he has spatial magic, so he has an infinite supply of food, whether it be plant, which is the cactus, and meat, which is basically the version of the mantis, and Izuku's been doing that. So that happened. Like, how long has it been? Yeah, we're about to pass 1 hour and 30 minutes. Let's get it. So yeah. So Izuku does that, and he doesn't really care about anything but those wolves, as he lets the wolves rest for a little bit, as he wakes them up 2 hours later, as the wolves are slowly waking up, as Izuku says, "Hey there, Izuku. How are you? Here. as he places a piece of meat in front of them, as the two start eating, as they go to sleep, as they wake up again and they back away, as Izuku says, you're awake. As they see Izuku's genuine smile, as they get this sort of comfort from Izuku, and they woke to Izuku, as Izuku reaches out their hands, as they think that Izuku's about to hit them, but he's not. He's trying to pet them, as they're expecting to get hit, but they get pet instead, and they're both surprised. The two are surprised, as all of a sudden, a skill window pops up. A window pops up and says, "Would you like to make these two your familiars?" As Izuku says, alright then. As he made the two his familiars. As it says, these two will level up as you level up as well. And it seems that they will level up quickly as well. As Izuku's luck stats are infinite as well, so XP and everything like that are infinite. So, yeah. So, Izuku, like the monsters he's been fighting, did not even scratch B class. All the monsters did not even scratch C class. All the monsters he's been fighting have been G, F, and E class. As Izuku, he finally notices and he was like, wait, what? There are monsters higher than those? Like, the only high-ranking monster that was the dungeon boss. And he was just a D class, as he said. Then what are gods? And gods are basically 10 S's, basically. Rank 10 S's. But in all, they're just one big S that's 10 times the size of the S, but based on the rankings of the god, it can go various ways, basically. So, basically, for the goddess of fairies, hold on. So yeah, so sorry about that pause, I had to sneeze. Yeah, that's gonna be a common occurrence throughout this whole, what if right now, so yeah. But I am getting better. After the ginger tea, my sore throat has cooled down a bit, and my continuous habit to, blow my nose has gone down as well. So yeah. So, Deku, he does that, and, basically, he says, alright then, I guess we'll have to get stronger. And let's get back to the rankings of the gods. The rankings of the gods can go all the way to Z class. The highest class right now is actually not an S class. The highest class is, surprisingly, an O class. An O class is the highest class. There have yet to be any S class gods. And Deku will be a living god. Well, he would be a living god. He'll be a living god, transcended god, omnipotent god, and celestial god. Due to, well, the things that he's going to be doing. So, Deku, over the time, he went by a grave. And that grave had many dead spirits as he talked to the spirits somehow. He used, the spirits of the elements to talk to the spirits, and he was able to actually conversate with them. As he then learned spirit magic, as he said, wow. As all of a sudden, Izuku, he just feels this bright light just sparkle around him. As all of a sudden, acknowledgement appears. As it says, reawakening magic. As he says, what's reawakening magic? As all of a sudden, he hears the spirit of life speak. It says, that's one of my, passive skills. You're able to freely talk to spirits now. You can use spirit magic, and many more. And also, you can bring things back from the dead, but they won't be fully human and living anymore. they'll be zombies or skeletons. It depends on how long that they've been in there. But if you use time magic, you could bring them back to before they were possibly before they were you know, killed. She says, "Oh, all right then. Hold on." So yeah. So Izuku, he learned that, and he was like, all right then." As he goes, and he reaches another dungeon. But this time, this dungeon is a big gateway. Has a really big gateway, as he says. God damn it. He says, "Fine." He goes inside, and basically, this mark appears on his back all of a sudden. Did I? Oh, wow, I have two of these. Can't have that. This will be useful. Remember that soon. This appears on his back. No, not this. This. Yes. This appears on his back. That's basically the sign of the demons. That means he's in the demon realm if you didn't guess it. So, yeah. So, yeah, I went to the bathroom now. I'm doing a video in the bathroom. Why? Because I feel like that's the most secure place for my condition right now. Because I feel like I'm going to have to, like, you know, blow my nose a lot. So, yeah. So, this mark appears on his back and he's like, wait a damn minute, as he uses the ability that he has with his familiars. Like, he killed one monster and got infinite levels, and his familiars can grow up to infinite sizes as well. But they're usually just the size of regular wolves. But, like, the height, but, like, they're not the same height as regular wolves. Like, the height, they're basically, 3 feet, alright? They're 3'5". They're 3'5", alright? They're 3'5". As Izuku, he looks and he says, "Isn't that the mark of the demons?" And, oh no. As he says, as he entered the gate through this, like the bottom one, the one that you saw at the bottom. As basically he says, "Alrighty then." There are basically, I think, 12 floors, as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Yeah, there's 10. Never mind that. So there's 10, but like, you can actually get to like these main bosses after clearing a whole 1 billion floor. And yeah. So Deku sees, so every boss is every 1 billion floor. This is gonna be tough. And Deku, he basically goes on the first floor to immediately get attacked. And he's like, "What? How is it so fast? God damn it." As he says, analysis, as he sees the level, as and the rank, as it says, rank E class, level, infinity +1. As he says, "What? There's something past infinity?" As he says, "God damn it." As he says, "I have to get stronger. These monsters are basically destroying me right now." And these are fast wolves, just pouncing on him one by one. And Izuku, he split up his share with his familiars, as he says, "Alright then, let's go." As he's basically fighting them. He's fighting them. And he's like, "Alright then." After like a whole year of fighting them, Izuku, he finally feels that he could at least go up to the next level. But before that, Izuku, he created a syringe out of, well, out of metal and or pieces of plastic in the air. As he took the blood of the wolves and he injected himself with it. As all of a sudden, Izuku, he says, "Hold on." Alright, we're back. As Izuku injects himself with it, and he falls to his knees and yells. Like, yells for at least another, it's not a year this time. It's 100 years. And this is when about, at least, I think about 1,000th of a second has passed by, and Izuku, he's basically in a void now. As he opens his eyes and says, as he basically sees this person sitting on a rock, as he says, excuse me, but who are you? As she says, oh, you're awake. Well then, let me introduce myself. I'm what you call a Grim Reaper. As she says, oh, so you're the Angel of Death. As she says, wrong. I'm actually the Demon of Death. Reapers aren't angels, they're actually demons since we're related to, well, Satan in your world. But let me tell you my name. My name is Rachel. As she says, oh, I really don't like saying that name, but still, it's gonna be useful. Alright, Rachel's gonna be useful. She says, then why am I here if you're a Reaper? It's not like I died. As she says, actually, you did die. In this current moment, you're in a state of life and death. She says, so I died, huh? He says, yeah. So I'll be escorting your soul to the afterlife. As he says, hell no. There's no in hell that I'm going down anywhere or up to the gods. As he takes a syringe, grabs her arm, and basically, takes out her blood and infuses himself with it again as he falls. And this time, he doesn't yell for 100 years. He yells in agony, just blood-curdling screams for 10,000 years. As this is when a second would have gone by. Hold on. As she says, you can't do that. Come. As she's basically trying to reassure him to see if he's fine. As all of a sudden, in a glimpse of his pain, he sees, this dark figure appear, as he hears the figure says, no, he'll get through this. I believe in him. As he thinks, God. As the figure bends down and says, yes, I am a god, but we cannot meet now. We'll meet when you pass out in a few years. I wish to see you, Izuku Midoriya. You've changed my mind and thoughts on the world, and I wish to thank you for that. As he says, as he groans and says, okay. As 10,000 years later of screaming, he passes out, and basically the Reaper thinks that he's dead, and she's trying to take his soul out of his body he's trying to take his soul to, the underworld, but his soul won't budge. It's as if his soul is it's denying the fact that he's dead. As all of a sudden she sees a skill appear, and she looks at his stats. She can't see anything about his stats, but only one skill: Conqueror of Death and Demise, Conqueror of Pain. As she says, what are these skills? What is he? And yeah, hold on. So yeah, so Deku, he gets up in his mind and he says, oh, I'm here. As he hears a voice clap and said, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Finally! As he's just yelling, Zuko says, you gotta come out so I can see you. As he says, oh, right. As he says, as he steps out, and Izuku sees this black-haired man, and he's smiling at Izuku, and Izuku says, what type of god are you? As he says, oh, I'm kind of a different type of god. I'm the god of death and darkness. He says, what? As Izuku says, there's also another god in here waiting for you, but you have to talk to me first. First of all, flick, as he flicks Izuku on the head, and Izuku says, that hurts so much. Wait, it hurt. how long are we in here for? As he says, well, since the other god after me is much stronger than me, we can stay in here as long as you want. As Izuku says, alright then. As all of a sudden, 2 points, arrows come out of his hand. As he stabs the floor, and an arrow comes out of his hand in the outside world. As he says, outside world, 1 year. In here, infinite years. As he says, are we? As he says, yeah, we're training. I'll get to know you better. As the god smiles and says, kid, you're just my type of person. As Izuku's just fighting him. As Izuku, he doesn't get buffer, alright? I want you to remember that. Like, Izuku Midoriya doesn't get buffer. He's still like that. His body, he's compressing his muscles. As he's getting much stronger and stuff like that. As the two, they stop fighting. Oh my god. Like, the two, they stop fighting after an octillion years. And you can search up how much zeros that has, because I'm not going to. Because I have better things to do. As you can see, I'm not even bothered calculating things now. So, yeah. As Izuku says, he looks at his stats and says, Conqueror of Death, Conqueror of the Death God. As Izuku says, Conqueror of the Death God? As the Death God, he says, see, you beat me, kid. Well then, here's my gift to you. As the god hugs Izuku, and all of a sudden, Izuku feels this pain in his back. He says, what's going on? As the god says, endure it, Izuku. The gift I'm giving you is not the body of an ordinary human. You'll have the body of a reaper. As he says, as after a year inside the head, he gets up and he sees his stats and it says, Reaper magic. And all of a sudden, darkness magic gets stronger as it says, Master, I got stronger. As Izuku says, I could see that. I'm glad. As, yeah. So he does that. He gets back to the outside world as he sees her, as he grabs her, basically. He grabs her by the waist. As she says, what are you doing? As Izuku says, what did I tell you? I'm not dying anytime soon. You can come try and get me as much as you want, but just know, the day I die is the day where we're gonna stay here together forever. As she blushes hard about this, as Izuku smirks and he walks with, as he just closes his palm, and all of a sudden, a crack appears. As he says, what? She says, space magic. Space and time magic really is useful, but I'm only using space right now. As he made a crack in space itself as he left. He says, well then, I'll be seeing you later, as he waves at her. As that happens, as he says goodbye. Like, take in mind, Izuku Midoriya, like Class 1A have been stuck in that world for more than 100 years. Alright? Their bodies are still going by the logic of their world, alright? Of their world. As they still have their, like, little kid mentality, and they have finally reached level, 1 million at this point, like the students. Like the teachers, they've only reached, like, 2.5 million to 5 million. And yeah. As Izuku, he goes back to the graveyard, seeing as how he got stronger, and he sees, Reaper magic, As he says, spirits, I'm back. As the spirit says, Izuku, why are you back here? As Izuku explains that he's gonna send them to the afterlife. As some of them said, sure, but the others said no. As he said, why? As the others said, well, we did very bad things in our past life, so we'll be going to hell. As Izuku says, oh, alright then. I'll let you stay. As they said, alright then. So he actually, they actually said, no, wait, can we travel with you? As Izuku says, travel? Alright. As all of a sudden, a window pops up in front of Izuku. As it says, would you like to form a contract? As Izuku says, a contract? as all of a sudden, life magic just sparkles and says, Dad, a new form of life has been created. Necromancy magic. As he says, necromancy? I'm a necromancer now? As it says, yes, we're getting close to just bringing humans back to life as, well, humans. As he says, alright then. As Izuku does that, and he says, yes, I'll form a contract. So he forms a contract with the spirits. So anything the spirits see, Izuku gets the knowledge of. As Izuku says, I want you guys to look over the kingdom that I came from and see what's going on over there. As they said, aye. As they just look. As Izuku has many split personalities. By split personalities, I mean his emotion. I mean not his emotions or feelings, but the spirits inside of his head and the elements. So every element has their own personality, but when it comes to spirit, they all have that kind, kid-like personality, and they like to play. But when it comes to people that ever harm Izuku, they can get pissed, and the color of his hair can signify that. Izuku's hair is this color now, due to him being in a state of life and death. If he were to at least stop being immortal, he'd be dead. Now, Izuku says, oh, right, that goddess. As Izuku says, how do I forcefully make myself pass out? I don't know, but it'll happen soon. As basically Izuku, he goes to the second floor. And instead of monkeys, gorillas, and stuff like that being there, it's tigers and lions as he beats them. And he beats them after a whole 2 years. And he takes in their blood and he screams for another 10,000 years. As 3 perceives this and she says, he really is a troublesome one. But what is this feeling I have for him? Like, she doesn't know what it is. As the god of, what was her name again? Rachel, right? As the god of death says, Rachel, come here. As Rachel says, right away, sir. As she goes to the god of death, as she says, is there a problem, sir? As the god of death says, there is, Rachel. As he's sending out this scary type, aura. As Rachel says, he's mad at me. As he gets up, goes to Rachel and says, why? Why did you not tell me that you have feelings for him? As he says, huh? As he says, what? You don't know what that feeling is? You're in love with him. As she says, in love with who? As she says that, it's Izuku Midoriya boy. As she blushes hard and says, no, I'm not. I just find him annoying and revolting. As he says, his world, they'd call that a tsundere. So you do have feelings for him. Well, it's not my business to pry into love type affairs, so I'll let it happen at its own pace. But I can assure you this, Izuku will be taking the initiative. And don't get mad if Izuku has more than one wife or girlfriend in the future. As she said, Baka. And the god said, what was that? I didn't hear you. And she says, Baka. As he chuckles and says, well then, you can go on your way now, Selena. And she says, fine, as she walks away. Alright, quick disclaimer, quick thing you need to know. Rachel, no, not Selena, Rachel, sorry. It's Rachel. Rachel is actually the daughter of the god of death. But since there are other reapers there that don't know that, only the gods know that Rachel is the god of death's daughter. Alright? So yeah, that happened. So yeah, since they have to act like worker and master when in front of other reapers, but in their long time they're father and daughter. So yeah, as Rachel leaves and goes back to her stand, stupid father. As Izuku, he gets knocked out from the pain, and he goes into his mindscape as he says, God damn it, how often do I have to do these just to meet gods? As he hears a voice and says, Well then, it seems like you won't be needing to feel that pain anymore after you train with me, huh? As Izuku says, huh. So I guess you're the second god I was gonna meet, huh? As he hears a chuckle that says, yep. As all of a sudden, what steps out is a pink-haired lolly, basically. She looks like Hestia, but with pink hair. Alright, and a dress. Like a little kid's pageant dress, basically. As Izuku says, who are you, the goddess of cuteness? As she says, hell no. What the hell? What the hell is the goddess of cuteness? For all I know, I'm nothing but the goddess of power. As Izuku says, what? Goddess of what? Oh, hell no. Don't lie to me. As she says, I'm not. As she punches Izuku, and Izuku goes flying. As he says, alright, you got me there. Damn it. As she says, well then, do that thing you did with the god of death. So we can train. As he does the same thing. And they basically train for not an octillion years, but 100 notillion years. As Izuku is much stronger now. He has now reached the strength of Infinite Plus. She says, alright then. Like, Infinite Plus is not infinity, alright? Alright, Infinite Plus just says, like, his stats just say infant just says like, I and F, basically, and a plus sign. So he's not at infinity yet. So, yeah. So, Izuku sees that, he says, alright then. As he says, it doesn't matter. Sorry. So he does that, and yeah. As you probably noticed, my voice has gradually changed throughout this whole what if. And let's see how long we're at. Okay, we're near 2 hours. Let's go. Da 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 da. So Izuku trained with her, and after a while, they did that. And Izuku, he trained with her, as she says, well then, there's one more that has to meet you before you go see somebody special. As she says, okay. As basically, she leaves, and all of a sudden, these two tall, twins, like Izuku, he's 5'11". These two 5'8" girls appear. They're busty. Alright, I'm gonna just say that now. They have big milk jugs. Yes, they have big milk jugs, big buttocks, and yeah. But personally speaking, I'm gonna say this right now. I'm not speaking for all men, I'm just speaking for myself. Depends on the male's preference, but to be honest, breast size doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna be dead ass here. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter if you're an A cup, minus A cup, you still got something to squeeze. If boys have something that they could squeeze, girls definitely have something to squeeze, even if they don't have the biggest size. But personally speaking, what I find normal to me would probably be like a C cup, alright? Alright, that I feel like that fit perfectly in my hand, but hold on. So, personally speaking, cup size don't matter. Like, alright? Cup size don't matter. I'm speaking to you boys out there. Cup size don't matter. Girls, I'm speaking to y'all as well, but mostly the boys. Cup size doesn't matter. Like, bro, what are you getting out of squeezing a cup size? Yeah, you feel comfortable when squeezing them shits and you get pleasure from them, but still, were they meant for you? No, they were not. No, they were not meant for you. They're made for the baby that she's having. So don't fiend over the titties. No, fiend on that ass. Bite that shit. Eat that shit. That shit is life. That shit is the evolution of mankind itself. Titty size doesn't matter. I mean, hell, there are grown men out there that work out and they have bigger titties than women. And shit. Do you see them complain? No. I don't complain at all. No females complain about titty size or anything like that when they see their mans. So why we gotta complain? Cup size don't matter. The ass does though. Why? Because that's the thing we're mostly about. What's in between them. Them cheeks is what really gets us going. So why are we all about the titties? I'm not all about the titties. I like the ass as well. I like me a big, round, juicy ass. Like, shit, you could have no titties at all and have a big ass. You're my type of woman. Shit, I'm coming after you. You the first one I'm hollering at. I don't care if you tall, got big titties, and no ass. No, I'm not coming at you. I'm going after the one with ass. Why? Because cup size don't matter. So, yeah. This has been inspirational moments from Lotus with us. Back to the video. So, yeah. So, he meets the goddesses, and Izuku says, hi? As they said, hi there, I'm the goddess of impurity and love. As Izuku says, okay, I get love. Let me guess, impurity, virginity-wise, right? As he says, yep. As he says, let me guess, you're gonna teach me things that I'm going to need for this specific person, am I not? As she says, yes. As so, Izuku, for the next 100 years, smashes. Ow, my ears. That was the house phone. My apologies about that. That was loud. So yeah. So the wolves, they notice that Izuku has a freaking itch to, inject himself with monsters, and die. From the goddess of power, he was taught one important thing. She drew a line and said, Izuku, this is your power. Like all of your power in one. As your power grows, the line will expand to the point where it can't stop at all. And that's when you can beat me. Then that's when you can meet and beat me. As he says, alright then. As, like I said, for the next 100 years, he just smashed. Basically, he clapped cheeks. And, yeah. So he got up, after 100 years, and he saw her again, as he says, so it was her. As, he uses wind magic, picks her up, and grabs her again, as she says, what are you doing? As she tries to push him, as Izuku, he a smooth criminal, he goes for the kiss. As, like, he learned a lot of things from the goddess of love as well. Like, many types of love. Like, she even learned how to show love through kisses. If you know what I mean. She kissed Midoriya. So, yeah, Deku making love with goddesses, too. Like, shit. So, like, she was kissing him, Izuku, and basically, she says, what is this feeling? I'm so hot inside. And you already know where it led to. Izuku, he laid the pipe work. He piped her, basically. He took that long, beefy, no homo, 15-inch, and shoved it right in her. And she made and she yelled the loudest. And they just did it. They just did it for a whole week. As Zuko's just huffing and puffing, because he's been top the whole time. Personally speaking, I should probably be making my characters switches. I should probably be making Deku switches. Like all my Dekus a switch. Should probably make them a switch. But that doesn't matter now, does it? No, it doesn't. So yeah. So he does that. And Izuku, he doesn't even care. He just did it for a week. And she's basically cuddling with him. They're basically sleeping. They're sleeping on a cloud. As she wakes up next to Izuku, as she says, she sees Izuku and she blushes and she yells, Baka! As she's just slapping Izuku all over, and Izuku says, ow, god damn it. As he grabs her and says, stop, as he kisses her, and she melts into the kiss. As he stops her, and he says, are you calm now? As she says, Baka. As Izuku says, so you're sundering. As he says, well, seems that my presence is not wanted, but I'll come back every now and then. After all, you're my girlfriend now. As she says, girlfriend? As he says, yeah, what else would you be? Can't make you my friends and benefits now, can I? As friends with benefits, not friends and benefits, sorry. As she says, Alright. So Izuku, he got up and he continues to travel. Now, while he was traveling through the desert, he came into contact with her on a horse with her men. As she says, "Stop right there, stop everybody." As she says, "You there, who are you?" As Izuku looks up and says, "You remind me so similar to somebody, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Who was it? 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 Who was it?" As he's thinking long and hard for this, and after 2 minutes of thinking, he says, "Ah, that princess." As she says, "Princess, who are you?" As he says, "My name's Izuku Midoriya." As she says, "Izuku Midoriya," as she charges at him with killer intent, and Izuku, he just tanks the attack. As she says, "What? My sword can't hit." As she looks up and looks closely at Izuku, and Izuku, she notices that his eyes are not as red as her eyes, but darker, like a blood voidless red, as she feels this killer intent, this dangerous type killer intent, as she's frightened. She falls to the ground and she pisses herself, as Izuku says in a stern voice, "Why would you do that?" As she says, "What?" As he says, "I asked, why would you do that?" As she says, you raped my sister and now you're gonna rape me." As Izuku says, "Raped your sister? Who told you that?" As he says, "My sister and father." As he laughs and says, "Wow, those two haven't changed ever since I left, huh?" As she says, "Huh? What do you mean?" As he explains what exactly happened that day, as she's feeling ashamed of herself. She jumped to conclusions without even asking the other side about what happened, as she notices that she pissed herself, and Izuku says, "Don't even bother getting up." As he makes water, as he splashes it on her vajayjay, her vagina. Like, alright, kids, I'm be dead ass here. Alright, kids, a vagina is a very important part of a woman, alright? Alright, little girls, little boys, doesn't matter. Alright, girls, boys, alright. Boys, I want you to remember this. Alright, little boys, it doesn't matter if it's your mommy, your best friend, your best friend's mommy. It doesn't matter if it's any woman or even a little girl. I want you to remember this. Never look at her vagina without her permission. Her vagina is her secret place. Just like how you don't want anyone to see your penis. I'm talking to your boys now. Just like how you don't want anybody to see your penis or your balls. They don't want people to see their vagina. It's important to them, alright? The same goes with their chest, alright? So you need to respect that about people. Treat people how you want to be treated, alright? So yeah. So she's feeling a little tingly inside because it's high pressure water hitting her vagina. As she's basically moaning, as Izuku says, "Oh wow." As he says, "Well, we're not quite there yet." As he just keeps leaving. As she says, "Wait, what are you gonna do?" As Izuku says, "What am I gonna do?" "Well, I have something in that direction I need to do and then go back." As she says, "Wait," as Izuku turns around and says, "What is it?" As she says in a very saddened tone, "Will I ever see you again?" As Deku, he smirks and turns around and says, "That's if fate allows it." As Izuku, he says, "Wait." As he goes to her and taps her forehead. As he says, "What are you doing?" As Izuku's eyes are glowing. As she sees this light radiate from him, as Izuku falls to the ground painting. As he says, "What was that?" As the time spirit says, "Master, memory magic. You learn memory magic." As he says, "What?" As he says, "Yeah." As Space says that. As Izuku says, "Wait, Space, you're with memory magic?" As she says, as the princess says, what was that? As Izuku says, memory magic. I'm able to see your memories. As she says, can I learn it too? As Izuku says, nope. You don't have the qualifications to. As she says, what qualifications are there? She says, you'll have to find out on your own. As he says, so that's what happened after I left, huh? Damn it. That goddamn Dragonoid knew I was coming before it even happened. As she says, Dragonoid? As he says, you wouldn't understand it. Hold on. You'll be hearing sounds in the back. That's the radio for my grandmother. She is listening to some news about Haiti. I'm Haitian, so yeah. So she says, all right then. But what did you see? She says, oh my God, you've been played. And she says, what do you mean? She says, well, it's clear that your sister and father sent you to this dispatch, but it seems they want you to die. She says, what do you mean? She says, well, first of all, this is not a mission. What they're sending to you to is suicide. Let me ask you a question. What rank monsters can you take on? As she says, S rank. As she says, oh, sweetie. Let me rephrase that. What level monsters can you take care of? As she says, I think, like 20 million? As she says, go back. As he says, she says, what? As he says, go back. As she says, what? Go back where? She says, go back to the castle. As she says, but why? As he said, as he says, if you continue where you're going, you're gonna die. As she says, what? Why? As he says, where they're sending you is not somewhere to do a mission, but somewhere you're gonna die. So promise me this. Until you see me again, I want you having no relations to that direction whatsoever. And if I even catch a glimpse or even smell your scent in that direction, promise you this, I'll punish you myself. As she says, punish? As she blushes, as Izuku says, yes, I'll punish you. As Izuku, he walks. As he says, let's go. As she grabs the horse and she leaves with Izuku. As Izuku says, well then, I'll be going now. As all of a sudden, like, take in mind, like, look at that stone cold face. You really expect somebody like that to not be stubborn? She's stubborn, but anyways. So he still hasn't met the female mage yet. Yeah. So, yeah. So, Izuku, he happens to come across, a portal. So he walks through the portal and he sees this heavenly land, and all of a sudden, this mark appears on his back, but without the whole extra lines, just the person. Basically, just the middle part. As he says, where am I? As he hears a voice that says, oh, so you've come. As all of a sudden, this person appears in front of Izuku. This person with bright golden hair. As Izuku says, who are you? As he says, my apologies. I am the heavenly god. Seems that you've come to learn heavenly magic. As he says, what? As he says, I'm what you people call the god of heaven. The one who oversees all in your world. As Izuku says, wait, what? You're Jehovah? As he says, yes, I am Jehovah. Well, it seems that you will be learning heavenly magic, and for that to happen, you need to, well, meditate. Hold on. So he says, alright then. As he says, well, first, we need you to channel all your elements around you. As all of a sudden, like, she knows about the elements Izuku controls. Izuku, he's surrounded by this rainbow-colored light. As the god says, wow, that's a lot of emotions. Now, calm yourself. Forget all the bloodlust, the hate that you harbor for these people for just this split moment. And just calmly think. Calmly think of yourself, happier times. As he does that, as he's thinking, Suku's thinking, I've gone so far. Oh, I wonder how others are doing, how my mom's doing. As all of a sudden, the wings appear. As Izuku, he can't get the hollow. So, he waits for a full... He does meditation for a full few billion years. And by a few billion years, I mean 500 billion years. And on the outside, it's been at least a week over this time. It's been a week. Like only a week, only a month has passed by. Like remember, they're still in the start of like the school year. As Izuku says, alright then. As a few billion years later, the hollow appears on the head of the basically statue, and the hollow also appears on Izuku's head. And you may be wondering, how is this gonna fit with this? Well then, it will fit together. It fits together perfectly fine, and if you can imagine it, you can imagine it. If you can't, you can't. So, yeah, I won't even try to give you a description of it. So, yeah. So that happened. Oh, wow, how long have we made it? Oh, yes. So, yeah. So, Izuku's done that, and basically he's thinking, oh, this calm demeanor and heavenly magic, I should probably be able to defeat that demon dungeon I went to. As Jehovah says, wait, what? You went to the demon tower? Then that's great. You can meet him. As he says, meet who? As he says, Lucy. You'll be able to meet Lucy, or formerly known as Satan. I hope you guys have a good relationship. He seems really interested in you. As he says, alright then, I'll go meet him. As he goes back to the tower, and Izuku, he creates syringes. And he puts them on every floor thanks to the ghost, since the ghost can see everything. And he took syringes from every monster, and he injected it inside of his body at the same time. All of them. As his body went insane. He's feeling immense pain. Like his pain tolerance is spiking up real nice. It's spiking up a lot. As Izuku, he's yelling a lot. As he's in pain, he's yelling for years and years and years on end. And he's like, ow. And yeah, so he does that, and he basically yells for about 2 billion years, which in that time was about a week. Hold on. As it takes him, he's knocked out for about 100 million years. And in this time, he sees angels this time. Angels inside of his mind. And he sees that the spirits have angel wings instead of fairy wings. As he says, what's going on, guys? As they said, we evolved. We're angelic spirits now, or holy spirits. As they said, alright then. As he looks at the, spirits or ghosts, and the ghost said, we're fallen angels now. As he says, that's a relief. As the angel said, you must be our new master. As Izuku says, who are you guys? She sees 4 angels. As the angel says, well, I'm Archangel Gabriel. I'm Archangel Matthew. I'm Archangel, Lucifer. And, I was really thinking, I really thought of, okay, hold up. Matthew, Gabriel, Lucifer. And take in mind, like I said, the way I think of Lucifer, Lucifer is different from Satan. Alright, this is just this is just like a copy of Satan that God made. Like, alright, so yeah, just remember that. And I am Archangel Azrael. As he says, wait, Azrael, aren't you the angel of death? Why are you an archangel? He says, well, I'm the archangel of death. As a matter of fact, I'm no longer of death anymore, but life, as he says. Oh, alright then. Azrael says, alright, then I guess we'll be with you. Like, these guys are just like copies, like they're exact copies of the originals, but like except for like their whole mindset of like their whole mindset like they used to have, like they have in reality. So yeah. So Izuku, he basically gets to know them, and he just hears a voice that says, huh, to think you'd get so chummy with angels that quickly. As he looks around, as he looks back and says, you're here. As she says, I'm back. As it's the goddess of spirits. As this time she has angel wings, as he says, did you evolve as well? As she says, yeah, it seems that way. As Izuku says, well, it's glad to have you back. As she says, yeah, it's glad to be back. So yeah, that happened, and that's where I'm gonna be leaving it off. He already started a relationship with one of them. No, not leaving it off right here. So, alright, so Izuku goes back to the tower. He wakes up again. He wakes up again and sees basically Rachel. If you don't know who Rachel is, this is Rachel. As he sees Rachel, he goes to Rachel, and Rachel, she's basically struggling to let go, but she gives in and kisses Deku, and they do a long, passionate kiss. As Deku, he basically does it with her. They did the dirty, and they had sexual intercourse, stuff like that. As Rachel says, "So you're going now, huh?" Izuku says, "Yeah, I guess I am." Well, it was nice seeing you again. I'll get you to the living side soon. As she says, I'm glad. As she kisses Izuku goodbye. As Izuku goes back to the tower. As Izuku, he's feeling more confident as he defeats this dungeon. He defeats this tower in 100 billion years. As not 100 billion, 100 quadrillion years. As his body's age is 18, but his mind's age is infinite of years old. As Izuku, he does that, and when he reaches the top, he sees Lucifer. As Lucifer says, oh, so you've come, or Satan, it's Satan. Satan says, oh, so you've come, huh? Well then, I won't say much, but your chances of survival in this place will be very low. As Izuku says, let's see about that. As Izuku, he fights Satan for another 100 quadrillion years, making that 200 quadrillion years to defeat the place. Why? Because Satan summoned the demons inside those levels again, and also the 4 heavenly kings. So Izuku had his work cut out for him, and he finally beat Lucifer. No, not Lucifer, I meant Satan. As Satan disappeared, and basically all these marks appeared on basically Izuku's back. Basically the whole mark itself. And Izuku, he gets out. Like, he's going down the floors, basically. And if you're wondering what Izuku's weapon is, Izuku's weapon is those air gloves I mentioned before. But this time, they're elemental gloves. They're disguised as black gloves, because, yeah. But they harbor every element, as is how it works. As basically, remember, he has this on his chest, this on his back, this on his head and also this on his back. And the wolves, they basically turn to this. As Deku says, I really haven't spent much time with my wolves, so I'll spend time with them. As he goes outside, as he sees the wolves and he goes to the wolves and he says, well then, I've had my share of fun after going from dungeon to dungeon. Now it's time to spend time with you guys. As on his way to a city, he sees two swords. As I think these are the swords from Fate. Tell me in the comments if it is. And if it isn't, I apologize. I should not have brought this Fate into this. But I think these are the swords from Fate. Well, at least this one. I don't know about this one. But like they look like Fate style swords. So Izuku, he does that and he picks up the swords, and the swords, they immediately bond with him as he picks up the swords, and immediately skill says, as this thing says, generating skill. Bond of the heaven and hell. As he says, wait, what? As he sees the skill name, as the name of the swords is Hell's Gate and Heaven's Gate. As he says, wait, are these? No way. Because he saw the two cross next to each other. As he says, it doesn't matter. As he goes to town with these two, as basically, like, it's normal to have pets, basically, and stuff like that. So Deku, he's basically going around town, buying things to feed the dogs, and he's having fun with them. And he actually got a little room. He went to a little room. It's an expensive inn with much space, as he's basically there just enjoying his time with the dogs, basically. And over this time, he's been like spending his time with the dogs for like his bond with the dogs is now like he's been bonding with the dogs for quintillions of years, and their bond is so strong that they already know what each other are thinking before they even do. And for the first 100 million years, these two were fighting against each other, since, well, they're of polar opposites, angel and demon. But Izuku got them to calm down, and they got along very well, surprisingly. And Deku notices this, and he says, oh well. As he puts the swords in front of the two, and the one with the angel wings touched this one, and the one with the demon wings touched the other one. As Deku noticed this, oh my god, they have a high affinity. But another thing happened when they touched the swords. They turned into humans, and they were both male. One with this one was basically an angel, basically, with the whole hollow and all that stuff, but with like the wolf ears and the human body. So he had a human body, wolf ears, the wings, the hollow. And this one had the wings, the horns, and basically human body. As he says, wait, can you guys transform when you touch the weapons? As they said, yes, we can. As Izuku says, oh wow, that's amazing. As they bond some more and they got stronger. So now we skip to 2 months after their bonding. Izuku, he goes outside to see there's a parade going on, and he doesn't know what the parade is going on about. As he says, it doesn't matter. As he goes and sees, and he sees Class 1A, and this fuels his hate. He sees the princess with them, the younger princess, as this fuels his hate. As he sends out a wave of bloodlust, a massive wave of bloodlust at that. As basically everybody senses this, and this princess, and everybody gets into a fighting stance, and everybody thinks, oh, they're just acting or something like that, because they can't sense the bloodlust, but they can. As the princess notices this bloodlust, and she puts down her sword, and she looks around, and she sees Izuku, and Izuku just walks away back to his house. As she comes moments later at him and says, Izuku? As Izuku turned and said, oh, hey there, princess. as she jumps on him as she is crying and said, "You were right," about the whole thing with them wanting her to die, as Izuku says, alright, calm down. As she's basically calmed down, and yeah. So while Izuku was sleeping, she kissed him, and Izuku woke up the next day seeing that he had a lot of, well, kiss marks on his face, and he saw the princess next to him. As he woke the princess up, and the princess woke up inside his face, and she said, "I'm sorry," but before she could even finish that sentence, she's already kissing Izuku, and she melted into the kiss. And they did the deed. So yeah. And that's how that relationship came to be. And that's where I'm going to be ending it off, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This has been part 1 of What If Deku Class 1. No, What If Class 1A and Class 1B were isekai'd. I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been Lotus What Ifs.